events, I'd say somewhere around 2014.
Right.
We found that some people came in and, you know, they got dates, but they were kind of tied to the database. So we would match them with whoever was already in the database. And so they weren't always successful. And so we're like, well, let's go out of the database. And the way we did that was scouting. So, you know, go to a restaurant, see somebody and be like, hey, you'd be perfect for our client, which is a very strange thing to approach people and do that, but it's our job. And what we would do is, and this is the model for what we do at VIP Matchmaking, is we would resource around 10 to 15 different women. Most of the time we do the events for men, who we would screen them in the office. We would do background checks on them. We would make sure that they were, you know, viable candidates, self-employed, not necessarily self-employed, but employed. And then we would have an event, and our client would come to the event, which is always a nice 3 or 4 star restaurant. We've reserved a private area, and he would very discreetly meet each candidate one by one for 15 minutes. So unlike the millionaire matchmaker model, where the women are like, pick me, you don't have to worry about that, because you are going to get a chance to sit with the client. And so they sit with the client for a good 15 minutes. And honestly, it takes about 5 minutes to know whether you want to go on a longer date with this person or not. You know, there's chemistry or there's not. It is what it is. And so after that round of 15 mini dates, they get together with George, and George, you could take it from here. It's the matchmaking portion. I do the events,
Right.
George does the matchmaking.
Yeah. So that's like leading up. So Renee basically does everything leading up to the event. Once we're at the actual event, it's kind of where I step in. So like I mentioned, you know, I do have a background in intimate relationships. And one of my favorite quotes is by Dr. Kingsley, and he said that there's a science to relationships and not a science to love. And so the love is what most people know as chemistry. So you can't predict that, but I can set up a foundation or like a good basis for a relationship to be successful. So when we're matching and when we're bringing the candidate to meet the client, after the 15 minutes, I ask them a couple of questions that kind of determine whether they might be a good fit or not. And if I get both yeses, because at the end of the day, you know, both people have to be interested. So when we do get both yeses, and at that point, I'm able to make the match. And then they go on the date. And after the date, they also provide feedback. And feedback's like the most important thing, because it's kind of the gas or the fuel in the car. It's what,
the gas in the machine of matchmaking.
Yeah, it keeps the machine going. Because sometimes you do things or don't do things that you aren't aware of, and it
can be a turnoff for someone.
It could be the reason why you're not being successful. I mean, I had one client who he had not been dating for a while, because he was in a relationship and then it didn't end up working out. And he was single for a while. We ended up matching, and everything seemed to be going very well. I mean, I think he even like met the parents, but there wasn't any chemistry on the girl's part. And where in the normal world, or the outside world, I guess, if you want to call it that, ghosting happens.
Right.
So with us, when we get the feedback, we're able to know why. We're able to know if there's true chemistry. We're able to know if the person really does feel a certain way, or if they're really interested or not interested, and they can be honest with us. But with that specific client, it was kind of heartbreaking, because he was so into this.
That was horrible.
Girl, this lady.
Oh man.
Yeah. And, I mean, she even had him meet her family and everything, like, and so at that point, you know, I'm able to step in and say, and talk to the girl and say, hey, you know, this behavior is actually not healthy. You know, you can't just be leading people on. And then speaking to him about, you know, what he could have done as well to recognize certain red flags or certain behavior.
That's another thing that comes with it's the, you know, the event is one thing, but in particular with what George does, it doesn't end at the event. He does date, and that's a lot of what we're offering right now while we can't have the events in restaurants, is actual, you know, talking to clients, analyzing what they're doing on dates, analyzing their relationships. He's able to offer his insights as a date coach. So it's not just, oh, let's match you, good luck, bye. You know, it's an ongoing kind of.
It's an ongoing relationship, right? It's an ongoing relationship. And you know, it's if we get a successful match, and what we consider a successful match is if both people have been dating for longer than 6 months, or if there's an engagement or a marriage. And the reason why we do 6 months is because research has shown that most relationships end between months 3 and 6, and most marriages end between years 3 and 6.
Wow.
And so, yeah,
those are good statistics to know.
Right. Yeah,
he's full of the statistics. That's what he's very good at what he does. That's what I like about what George does. It's very science based. It's very statistic based, even though it's love. So, you know, it's not just his opinion. You know, what he's telling you is based on research, and it's very valuable. I think.
Right.
He probably has some opinions though as well.
Right. I do give a couple of, you know, my opinion here and there, but my opinion is usually backed up by research. And, you know, people always say, well, love, you can't research love. And I agree, you know, that's chemistry, but you can always work on building that foundation. You can always work on a relationship based on research, because at the end of the day, we are humans and we exhibit certain behavior that's across the world. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from. We're all wired in a way similarly. And so, you know, but I do tell clients, going back to the 3 to 6 months, you know, what we consider a successful is if they've been in a relationship for more than 6 months. Because after the 6 months, you basically have already gotten to go through life experiences with them, or you would hope so. Whether it be meeting your family, you meeting their family, going to dates to where you see how they treat, you know, service industry members. You've probably seen them around kids. You've probably seen them in situations where, I mean, you can't fake your personality for 6 months. You know, like that's,
right. Or you've seen them under duress. And I bring that up because we did an event that wasn't a VIP event. It was a open to the public speed dating event, but I themed mine. And the one that I had come up with was speed dating in an escape room environment.
Yeah, that's
and
different.
after we did this event, it got picked up by Match.com. I was pretty pissed off. But anyway,
wow.
Wow. The reason was because, you know, you see these TV characters and they bond and everyone wants them to hook up. It's because they're in these like intense emotional situations and it bonds them.
The rest.
And it's either going to bond you or you're going to be like, no, thank you. So when you're in this escape room with somebody you've just met doing like a 5-minute speed date, it really is either going to show that you guys can work well together under stress or you're not. And so it was a fantastic insight into, you know, the beginnings of a relationship with two people that had never even met. And that was a really fun event. And that's kind of one of the other things that we do is outside of the box events. Because so people, you know, going to a singles event sometimes has a stigma. I'm not just going to go hang out at a singles event. Well, okay, let me theme it. And then it's more, this is crazy, y'all. Let's just go check it out. Right. And there you've got immediate talking points and something to discuss and bond over. And it's just a completely different vibe at our kind of events than your run-of-the-mill, you know, mix and mingles. So that's what I try to do those like twice a year.
Yeah, and I agree because we've done, you know, singles events, speed dating events, and some has been more successful than others for one reason or another. But yeah, I think we'll definitely, the theme just kind of makes it stand out, makes it different. It gives, you know, both parties, you know, something to talk about while they're there.
Right.
Definitely making it unique, I think, helps too, because we've had them at a bar or a restaurant before too. We did have a theme on one of them. But yeah, for whatever reason, some are better than others, depending on who attends and everything like that. So.
Right.
And Dre, you mentioned that you typically have more men, right, at your events?
Typically, yeah.
That's crazy.
The opposite for us. It always has been. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said
Well,
the
with the
opposite?
speed dating events, we make sure it's even because we have people like submit ahead of time.
Yeah.
But if we do like an anyone can come kind of an event, we tend to gear, unfortunately, skew more towards women, and then the women get upset. So we're definitely always looking for like a equal playing field.
Yeah, so we definitely need to work together then because we've got too many guys. I'll have too many women, so we need to combine.
We can make you happy. We can make them happy.
Yeah, we definitely need to collaborate on that for sure here in the future. Okay, well, awesome, guys. So do y'all have any more events coming up, whether they're in person, online, or just anything like that?
So, so a couple of weeks ago, like right as the lockdown started, I partnered with a company that has a platform for like online speed dating, and they had not done it before. So unfortunately, this event was a mess, a hot mess.
It was a hot mess.
People can hear it, see, it was horrible. But they're working on the platform. And so once we know for sure that the platform's not going to crash, we are doing virtual online speed dating events where you can, block somebody if you think they're inappropriate, but it's like or pass. It's 3-minute dates. And we're really excited about that. We got covered by Channel 2 for doing that event. So we're looking to do another one as soon as the platform is stable. I would say maybe 2-3 weeks from now. And then as soon as we can go to restaurants again, we've got a VIP event planned. We've got a man who is, he's 39 years old or 40 years old. And so we're looking for women between the ages of, 30 and 40, who could be a good match for him. If there's no cost to these women, if they're right for him, we're happy to invite them to the event and meet him. So we're excited to be hosting that as soon as we're able to. And then I'll come up with my new crazy theme, which is a secret right now.
For sure.
For the next in-person.
Yeah, we have some pretty fun ideas. So like some of the previous ones that we've done, just so y'all have an idea of what we mean by out of the box. Like we did speed dating in elevators.
Right.
Speed dating in Maseratis. Yeah. Speed dating in Maseratis. We did
speed dating at the ballpark.
Yeah, speed dating in the ballpark. And then we did we've done like speed dating,
hypnotism, speed dating,
dating
in the dark. That was a big one.
Dating in the dark. Before Love is Blind happened.
Huh?
Before the show Love is Blind, we did it first.
Yes, it was way before Love is Blind. It was 20. It was the fall of 2016, I believe. So 2017.
And then
whatever wild things we can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those type of events.
Yeah, that's great. And I think a great thing for this video when I post it is y'all can just send me the links to the write-ups I did for y'all in the news and everything. I will post those.
All on the website.
Yeah, I'll post your website too. Go ahead and just say it real quick if you don't mind. Your website?
VIPmatchmakingevents.com.
VIP.
So VIPmatchmakingevents.com. And again, right now, while we're, in this social distancing phase, we do offer online dating coaching, meaning that if you're dating online right now, because it's the only way you can date, George and I are like, I'll rewrite your bio. We look at your photos. We offer you some tips. So it's a great service right now. Like if you're not getting enough swipes in the direction you want it to go.
So y'all
but it's important
profile basically.
Right. Yeah. No, and it's important to note because it is very, a lot of the reason why people aren't successful, because people always ask me, like, what are your thoughts on online dating? And as a matchmaker, I obviously want to be like, it's horrible, don't do it. But the honest truth is that it can be successful for people, but you just have to know how to do it or how to present yourself. Because if you're not presenting yourself in the best light, like you're not gonna get the matches that you probably want. And we, as humans, the way we see ourselves isn't necessarily the way that other people see you. So, for example, like I've heard so many like personally with me, like I'll take a picture and then I'm like, oh, I look horrible. But then like 3 years later, I'm like, oh, I actually looked really good, you know? And it happens all the time. But
we've all
Well,
done
no,
that.
we have clients actually who shall remain nameless that we've met them in real life and they're gorgeous and they're fabulous. And then you see the photos and it's like, because some people it's not natural to smile or they just aren't photogenic and yet they're gorgeous in real life.
Yeah,
so it can be a liability. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do, so we're able to kind of go in there and make adjustments and give suggestions. And then I can also give you pointers, because one of the biggest setbacks of doing online dating is that sometimes people feel like they can't get out of a conversation. And what I mean by that is that they're kind of stuck in that conversation. The date never happened. They never are able to have a conversation like on the phone or FaceTime because the conversation isn't really going nowhere. You can't move past that conversation. So giving you some pointers on that. Also, being able to manage your options, because online dating can be overwhelming. Yeah, and part of the reason is because, I mean, if you think about it, it's like I think I've mentioned this to you, Dre, but it's like a kid at a candy store. You know, you present them with 500 options, you're not going to get them out of there. They're going to want all of them. Just kind of being able to get them to focus on what's important and being able to narrow down is something that I'm able to help with. So.